This is Xiaomi's recently released flagship phone, the Xiaomi 14 Pro. One of its most important aspects is the camera setup it sports. We've got three 50 megapixel cameras to the back, including that primary, the new Light Fusion 900 sensor that Xiaomi is paired with a variable aperture Leica Simulx lens. Xiaomi touts this as one of the best camera phones today. Now this is the iPhone 15 Pro Max, arguably the most popular camera-focused flagship smartphone today. So how do these two compare? Hey guys, my name's Ash and today on C4E Tech, let's find the answer to just that.
And let's start with the selfies. Now both cameras can do 4K 60, which was a surprise to me because Xiaomi this time can finally let us shoot 4K 60, and the quality is quite comparable. Now guys, here's the thing. I'm South Indian and 15 degrees is what we tend to call cold, and it's sub-0 degrees here right now. So that's where I've been shooting, and that's what I had to do to get all these shots and samples. So if you wanna show your appreciation, drop this video a like, get subscribed. Let's move on.
I feel the mic pickup was better with the Xiaomi. The noise cancellation, it's just stronger. See these waveforms? Xiaomi is much cleaner. Now these lows, this is the ambient noise, and as you can see they are much lower while the highs are pretty much the same. Now with stills though, I gotta go with Apple. Despite turning off all beauty mode options, Xiaomi still has some artificial brightening of the skin and some softening going on. It's insane to see Apple's 12 megapixel shooter picking up more detail than Xiaomi's 32 megapixel one. Yes, it downsamples, but still. Now Apple does provide an option for portraits on every image if needed, but Xiaomi does provide that Leica tuned bokeh, that nice circular background blur. It looks beautiful. Alright, enough with the selfies, let's now get to the main comparison, the one I'm sure you've been waiting for, the primary cameras. Now it's worth mentioning that Xiaomi has two modes for shooting, Leica Authentic and Leica Vibrant. I did all my testing on Leica Vibrant since I feel Leica Authentic is a little too contrasty and causes the blacks to be crushed more. It just doesn't make for a fair comparison against an iPhone. Now with detail on auto mode, there's not really much different. The color science used by both brands, it's slightly different, yes. Now Xiaomi gets a little high on the reddish hues, but honestly without a side-by-side comparison, this is not something you're gonna notice. Now when you zoom in, you're gonna see Apple edge ahead slightly in terms of detail. And also with dynamic range, like in this set, see the highlights? There's a similar level of detail there. But with the shadows, there's just a little bit more on the image shot by the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now here I feel the need to mention that back when the Xiaomi 13 Ultra launched, Xiaomi did say this is the type of processing they were going for from that point on. They weren't gonna be brightening up the shadows unrealistically, so this could be a conscious decision, but personally I think this is just a dynamic range miss. I don't think it's conscious because, you'll see that when we get to video. Now moving on, Xiaomi does have that variable aperture Leica Simulx lens, so when you shoot things like this, a subject up close, you're gonna get a much shallower depth of field since it's f1.42 versus f1.8. Under low light, here's where Apple definitively pulls ahead. Now look at the text here. The blurriness you see on the Xiaomi, that's not human error, that's what I thought it was first, so I took multiple shots to test, and the iPhone consistently shot sharper, more detailed images under low light. Like here, see the walls of that building? Also the difference in the processing, the colors, it's a lot more noticeable under low light. Now pretty much every set of shots I took, it had the iPhone doing better. Low light performance is definitely a win for Apple. With video, what you're seeing here is 4K 60 being shot via both cameras. The Xiaomi can do 8K 30, the iPhone cannot, so I shot 4K 60 for the comparison part. Here I feel both of them perform quite well, they are equally stable, the colors are close. But if I had to pick one between both, I'm gonna have to go with the iPhone. Because the footage, it appears a tad more natural without what looks to be artificially cranked up brightness on the Xiaomi. See here, the trees, the shadows under the AC, Apple's got the contrast right, while Xiaomi feels a tad off. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Now to be clear, I'm not calling this an issue, I'm just being super nitpicky here just to point out the differences. So it's not like the iPhone's definitively better with video, it's not, but it's got a slight edge. Now under low light, here's where Apple is definitively better. There's really not much you can see on the Xiaomi. Noisy as it might be in very dark conditions like this, the 15 Pro Max still lets you know what it is that you actually shot. With ultra-wides, we have Apple's 12 megapixel shooter going up against Xiaomi's 50 megapixel shooter, but the results on auto at least are pretty similar to what we saw with stills. Xiaomi is slightly high on the saturation, especially with the reds. There's also a little bit of a brightness boost again, and the detail when you zoom in, the iPhone fares better. Here's another example. And finally, with Telephoto, we have Apple's 12 megapixel 5x taking on Xiaomi's 50 megapixel 3.2x. And this is an easy win for Apple. Here I feel the iPhone 15 Pro would have been a better comparison since that has 3x optical, which is closer to Xiaomi's 3.2x, but sadly, I do not have that phone. So now, as you continue watching samples, let me give you the conclusion. The Xiaomi 14 Pro seems to have excellent cameras, and I feel Xiaomi's done pretty well with the software, with the processing, with the backend as well. But at the end of the day, the iPhone 15 Pro Max does come out on top here, and I don't really see this as an L for Xiaomi. Now, it's worth keeping in mind that the Xiaomi 14 Pro is just half the price of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. In China, the only market where both phones are available. And for literally half the price, the Xiaomi 14 Pro, I can happily say, offers 80-85% of the camera performance that the iPhone 15 Pro Max has to offer. And I feel that is definitely a major win for Xiaomi. So in a nutshell, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the better camera, but how close the Xiaomi 14 Pro's gotten to it, I feel that's a win for Xiaomi. So that's it for this video. Thank you for your time and have a nice day. Bye bye.